I don't know why I always have trouble.
Hey, Kristen.
Hi. Oh, sorry, you can hear me struggling.
I
I have
can, I
my
can,
tech
I
support.
can hear you, but I can't see you.
Yes, I have my tech support coming in.
Okay.
Highly paid assistance. That means
There you are.
thank you.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
How are you holding up in the weather?
Okay, how about you?
Good. We don't have air conditioning, but we make do with fans.
Do you? Have you
Yeah, and we have
figured out?
family coming in tomorrow, and then the unit upstairs does sort of condition the space. We had to have Southbridge Tire here to fix that today. Luckily, they came. So I think we're sort of prepared for company.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. The humidity's just been a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just a little uncomfortable, Denise.
I know.
Very uncomfortable.
Philippa, you don't have air conditioning, do you?
We do. We have a
Okay.
Mitsubishi unit
Mini
that got
splits.
put in the fall.
Oh,
And
great.
we were
That's what,
always very scornful about air conditioning and
yeah.
people who needed air conditioning. But boy, we are using it and enjoying it.
Yeah, that's what
Uh,
we have as well. I mean, just to get the humidity out of the air just makes it comfortable, even if it's warmer.
Yeah. We will still not have it on and open the windows if there's a breeze because we just feel that's more natural.
Hmm.
But when it gets really hot or humid, it's just nice to have it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Ah,
Philippa,
thank
you
you
should
so
be
much
doing
for setting this
sales.
up. Sorry,
You
Kristen,
should
what?
be doing sales for the mini splits.
Oh, yeah. Uh, Thank you for manning the polls yesterday. You managed to juggle the votes in the correct direction. Well done.
Oh, yay.
Thank you for leading. I felt bad for not being there, but both the interns came to vote.
I
Oh,
told them
great.
I said they needed to. When we finished at the garden, I said, make sure you go and vote. So I'm glad that they did. That's
They
great.
didn't look all hot and sweaty, so I didn't know if they'd actually worked.
Oh, they had worked. They had worked
Oh,
really
good.
hard. Yeah, yeah. We were very hot and sweaty. I don't know if they managed to look cool.
We were saying many alleluias this morning with the passing of the budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen how much we got. Do you know what we got at the
It was
Arboretum?
about 1024 to 822 was the last number I saw. It might be one number the other way, but about a margin of 200.
Okay.
John will know because he was the moderator, and there he is.
Hi, John.
Hi,
Hi
John.
there. Hi there. The vote was 1,025 yes to 822 no's.
And what percentage of the population of Woodstock does that represent, John?
There were 6,100 registered voters,
So that's 30%.
roughly 30, and then there's an additional 35 people who are not registered voters who were able to vote because it's a referendum on the budget. So if
Okay.
you're a property owner with property on the grand list on October 1st, 2024, you could vote.
How does
Interesting.
that make you unregistered?
You
I,
might,
I, that's how I voted. I'm not a registered voter in Connecticut, but I own property here.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have, I have to pay taxes. So no taxation without representation.
Okay.
Oh.
If you don't mind my asking, Noreen, why aren't you registered?
I'm registered in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
well, and there are a
So,
lot of people in Woodstock that are registered and have their primary residence in Florida because
I
there's no
see.
income tax and for other reasons, but own property here. So they spend they have to be careful to spend 182 days of the year in Florida.
Or better,
So it's
yeah.
over half, and then they can spend the rest of the time here.
Oh, thank you, John. That explains it. Okay.
Well, I'm not doing it for any tax avoidance reason because Maryland has very high taxes, just like Connecticut.
Okay, I make it 6 o'clock, so I declare the meeting open. I know that Sarah can't come, and Sandra, I thought was going to be here.
It is the day she has her granddaughter as a rule, so maybe
Well,
things went long.
she may be. She had her granddaughter yesterday too.
I think she's plans for 2 days a week in the summer.
Okay,
Summer.
that,
I don't know.
that could well be the issue. Okay, everybody have a chance to see the minutes of the last meeting?
Beautiful as usual.
Oh,
You're so kind, Kristen.
okay. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
And second from Kristen. Any discussion, any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Withholding? No. Great. Okay. Treasurer's report. John, I just saw, had a look at it. We still have money in our account, right?
That's right. And I talked with the Diane Converse, who's the bookkeeper
Right.
at the town hall, and about the small amount of pay that the two interns would have accumulated after their work last week. And because their paycheck will be dated in July, that will be charged against next year's budget, or the year we're in now. So the 25-26 budget will pay their work.
Okay. And do you know how much we've got in that 25-26 budget? Is it $3,000 or did we get cut?
The last time I looked, it was $3,000. And that's, but I can go look again to make sure.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that I wasn't told that it was going to be cut, but I didn't look. So that would be nice to know.
Well, I did not look. I looked between the first and second referendums.
I did too.
But I didn't look at that detail between the second and third.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. Did anybody else in the committee know what we have?
No, but it was never mentioned as one of the things they cut to get it down.
Right. That's what I thought. Okay. How about that bill for the tree work? John?
It was $300. It was another bill for $305, and it was also for treating the yellowwood and the yew. So they have done 2 treatments for those trees. Is what I guess, since we've been billed twice.
Right. I think you were going to go and check and make sure it wasn't the same bill coming back, right?
I checked to see what the amount was and what it was for. I didn't ask for a copy of the bill, but I can do that next week. They're closed tomorrow to celebrate the holiday.
Right. But I think that the really sick yew is looking a little bit better. At least half of it is looking greener than the other half, which is nice to see. So I'm glad he's doing that. So what do we do with the money that's left?
It vaporizes.
As of yesterday?
As of yesterday, unless we get a bill, if we were to get a bill from Better View, for example, for their June work early next week, they might be willing to charge it against last year, the budget year that just ended. But I don't know that.
I thought that's what Diane said, was that she would be paying those bills through July. No?
Well, what she said about the payroll was that since the check would be dated in July, it would be charged against the budget for July. Now, it may be that payroll is different because of the way the town has to match things like Social Security and Medicare and all that. And so they may treat slightly differently than they do, I'll say, business expenses. But I'll check on that next week.
Okay. Now we did not get the grant for the identification labels, but Denise, did you go and check it out, or was it Sandra who went and checked out what those labels would cost, right?
Yes, it was Sandra.
Yeah, okay. Would that be something that we could, since she's already checked out the price, that we could buy those labels with that money that's in the account so it doesn't vaporize?
I'm not sure since it's already the new year, I'm not sure they'll let us do that. And if we had already bought them, we could make the argument. but we haven't bought them yet.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we were hoping to get them with the grant, but we didn't get the grant. So,
I thought that there were other expenses for which receipts were going to be submitted. I guess that wasn't the case.
well,
We didn't get it
Sandra
done.
did submit a receipt, right?
I haven't seen one.
She sent it in the email.
Well, then that's on me. I'll look back through my emails. With the election day stuff and other things, I'm way behind on my emails.
Yeah, it would not take care of the whole amount, but she would certainly be reimbursed, which I think is fair.
Let me see. Yeah, she sent them on June 30th. Let me see if I can get that taken care of next week.
Okay, that would be terrific, John. Thank you. What do people think about picking up Chris's estimate to clear the swamp of invasives and pay for it out of our Friends Fund?
That was $1,000-ish.
That was what his estimate was, yes.
Uh-huh.
And we had talked about hoping we were going to get that big grant, but we were supposed to hear about it in June and haven't heard.
That was the Botanical
Yeah.
Society, right?
So I'm assuming that since we didn't hear, we are not one of the lucky
Yeah.
few, unfortunately.
Well, I think getting a major clean out of that area is a good idea, and it would take a horde of volunteers spending an awful lot of time. So if we can pay somebody to do it, the problem is we're going to have to make sure we have a plan to put stuff in there so that they don't come back.
Right. But do you think it's something that we should pursue?
I think it's worth pursuing.
Okay. Denise, how do you feel?
If you guys think it's worthwhile, I mean, I think it makes sense. So it's cleaning out the swamp area, you said?
It's basically clearing that area out of all the invasives that are in there.
Okay.
And then the next part would be to buy some plants that are appropriate for for the area. He was going to clear it out so that the spring flowed, and it flowed into a hollowed area which would act like a vernal pool. And then we would plant around the vernal pool area. That was my understanding of his plan. Would Kristen and John, would you agree on that? That's what
I don't remember, I can't recall having read about his plan or his recommendation.
I concur with what John just said, but it seems like a good idea from the way you describe it.
Okay. And the thought was that Sandra had thought that maybe Tom should meet with him to plan out exactly where this would go as far as the overall planning, and that's sort of Tom's area of expertise. There are certain plants and trees that we would want to keep. One of the things that may have to come down is that beech that's dying. And that would be a big cost.
That would be additional, right?
That as far as I understand, would be additional. I don't think that's included in, because he's not
It's got to be at least another 1,000, right?
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Is that something the town would do? Because it's certainly a safety issue, isn't it?
I think we could explore that, Noreen, because they have said that they would help with any safety issues. And that first budget did allow us access to some of those special funds that the town got. As I recall, it was up to $9,000 of that fund money, but I'm not sure if that all went towards the pickleball courts and tennis courts, or whether there is still part of that in the town's.
I expect that money's gone.
Think it's all gone?
Well, there was a deadline on having, you had to spend it all by some date, is my recollection.
Okay. Well, it's certainly worth exploring, but I think that's a good idea, Noreen, is because it is a safety hazard. I mean, that tree is right beside the path. It's right beside the table sitting area. And it is definitely a doomed beach, unfortunately.
Is it
Right.
a doomed beach because it has a blight or because it doesn't like wet feet and it's got wet feet?
I think it has the blight and wet feet and
Okay.
anything else that could be dooming a beach at this time. It has got the blight. It's got both beach blights, I believe, and wet feet. Although it's been growing with wet feet before the blight came in, and it's grown to a decent size. So I don't think we can blame the wet feet. That swamp has been swamp forever. So I think it's the blight, it's the beach blight, it's that leaf minor, unfortunately. But let's take a look and I can ask the town and they would probably want their crew to take it down. Which is great.
Well, and that would be a relatively easy tree to take down because there's nothing much around it.
Right.
And so they can just drop it and then cut it up. Well, we got to decide what we want them to do with the wood.
Well, if it's diseased, shouldn't it be removed? I mean, normally I would say you would maybe think about keeping it, but you don't want something with a disease on it because it might infect something else.
Well, the other thing that it would infect, unfortunately, is our purple beech, which is already a pretty sick tree too. That's the only other beech around.
Right. Well, I know, but do they know exactly though? Does the beech blight only affect beech trees? Because a lot of these diseases can kind of cross over too.
Yeah. That sounds like a master gardener question, Kristen. Do you know?
No, I never thought, no.
Hear no
I can-
evil, see no evil, speak no evil. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, Noreen.
I will see what I can find out.
Fantastic.
Do
Thank
you
you
know
very
what
much.
beach disease it has?
I
Just
think it's
blight
called a
and,
leaf minor.
oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I bet that does. Okay. I'll look it up.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Any other thoughts? We have another donation of tools and hose from Jessie, our neighbor who is selling her house and moving out. So tomorrow when we go down to work at the Arboretum, there will be tools and a hose outside the shed, which is very nice.
Very nice.
So I don't know. I usually send her an email to thank her, but Denise, maybe you could send her a letter. Would that be okay?
Sure, like a real letter?
Well,
Like a thank
no,
you note?
a real fake letter.
I can, yeah, I mean, I can write like a personal thank you note.
I think so. I mean, this is her second big donation, and she
Oh.
was a member of our committee once upon a time.
Okay. What's
And
Jesse's last name?
White,
White. And how do you spell Jesse?
Jesse.
I-E. Okay. And living in that house right there that I could mail
Yeah.
it to.
She's moving, so I don't know whether the mail and snail mail would reach her. It may have to be just one of those nice emails that you send out.
Okay. Would you have her
Well,
email address? Go ahead.
What's that, John?
I bet I can find her address.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
The tax records in the town are a wonderful source of addresses.
Okay. And you have access to the tax records. Yes, yes, yes.
We all
Everybody does.
do.
It's public.
Everybody does.
But not everybody accesses them, right?
You could.
We could. You're absolutely right. We could. Okay. Anything else as far as Treasury goes that we need to talk about? John, anything else that you want to bring up?
No, and her looks like her mailing address is the property address, which is 519 Route 69.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
You're welcome.
Okay. Moving right along. we have a second intern, Joaquin, and he has worked twice now at the Arboretum and says he likes the work, and he's been working really well. He and Reed are our two interns, and Denise wrote some very nice letters to the other applicants, thanking them for applying and hoping that they would come back and work for free, and eat her
No.
chocolate chip cookies. No, I'm joking. No, those were very, very nice letters that you sent. Just saying, we will keep them. We will keep the information about them, and if it becomes possible, they can reapply next year. It was nice. I thought it was a very positive thing. And you said you heard from a couple of the kids?
Sure, yeah, a couple of people just responded, thanks for letting me know. I'll keep that in mind, sort of thing. Yeah.
Great.
At least they bothered to respond.
Very nice.
Yeah, not all of them, but a couple of them. Yeah.
That's nice. So the setup is Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons from 3 to 5, and any adults who can join us. And there's no reason because these are pretty responsible kids who, once they're directed to do something, do it. So that I don't think we need to be there the whole time. If somebody can come down for an hour or the beginning or the end, that would be great. I'll try and be there the whole time each time. But, I welcome company. And as I say, if you can only manage an hour, that's great. Come on down and supervise. You don't
And
have to.
Reed's there at those same hours, 3 to 5, Tuesday,
It's
Thursday?
basically, he has set the hours because he is a lifeguard at the YMCA in the mornings.
Yep.
Who cannot get there before 3. So we can't do any mornings, even though it would be cooler. It's 3 to 5. And so instead of working that Thursday morning, which we had talked about doing, we're going to be working Tuesdays or Thursdays and Thursday afternoons, 3 to 5.
Okay.
And Sarah was there the last time with me. She and I worked with Reed and Joaquin.
I'm sorry. So this is in place. So you were going to have those work days on Thursday mornings, but
Yes.
now
It's going to be
So it's-
Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons, Noreen, from 3 to 5.
okay. Okay.
So you are welcome to join us. We welcome all weeding hands.
Right. The afternoon would be better. I mean, the morning rather would be better.
Yeah,
It'd
the
be-
morning would
It's
certainly
better
be.
for all of us.
It would be much cooler, but actually we can be in the shade most of the time, which is nice. That's one plus about the Arboretum is that a lot of work can be done in the shade. And there's a lot of work to do. There's always weeding. We've done a lot of weeding, edging, and mulching, but there's still more to do. And zipper zappering. We're hoping, in fact, on Thursday, we're going to have the guys zipper zap down on the right-hand edge of the lower part of the Arboretum, because I think, and also dig out those invasive trees down there, because I think we can get the mower to go all the way down that side of the ditch. And the thought is that maybe we'll try and make some kind of a way to cross the little ditch, so that'll increase the area that they can mow that we don't have to worry about, which would be really nice. Any other thoughts about that?
No, it sounds like a good idea if we can get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kristen, you've been down there. And anything that you've noticed that we should be focusing on that we're not doing?
No, I've stayed away from that area because it's so bad. I've been focusing on other areas that are more in the middle where the kids can see progress.
Right.
So I don't want to speak to the edge.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking that with these two guys and some shovels, they will be able to dig up those invasive trees that Sandra has already spray painted. So they've got the orange flashes on them, the red flashes on them. And it would be fantastic if they can be dug up. And then the mower can come through. That would really be a plus, I think.
Philippa, for just a point of information, spell check does it like zipper zappering.
It's an American spell checker.
Oh,
It's well, how would it like weed whacking?
I like zipper zappering better.
Okay. Uh, okay, okay. Um, any other things about the work that needs to be done down there? I know everybody has vacations and family things, so I fully appreciate when anybody can come down. It's great. No other thoughts? Okay. I don't have the agenda in front of me. Christina, what am I missing? Denise.
So just a review of work days and projects, which you kind of covered, update on grant submissions and opportunities. And I guess both of those two grants that were applied for to be heard for in mid-June that we did not receive. One was for the labels, and then the other was for that
Big project.
big project in the swamp area. And then Noreen, did you have
I just wanted to say, I mean, there is still money that the Quiet Corner Garden Club has, but there would need to be some application with, a plan for how the money was going to be spent. Because they did get a grant from, and I don't remember if it was it's specifically to be used for historic places, and they've already used a lot of it for the Abington Library, but they've got about $1,000 or so left. So it could be used, or it could be at least applied for. But
Is there a form?
I can get you the form, but we would need there would need to be something put together for it.
Yeah, but
The form is pretty simple. I mean, I have it. I can forward it to whomever.
Well, Chris,
But the time is sort of running by here.
yeah.
Somebody else will apply for it.
Kristen, that the one that you applied for, that's not the Quiet
Mhm.
Corner Garden Club one?
No, that was the Connecticut Master Gardeners Association.
Okay, right, yes.
Yeah, the Quiet Corner Garden Club got a grant from Federated Garden Clubs of Connecticut to plant that steep bank along the side of the building near the
Right.
parking lot. So they got, I think, $500 from Federated Garden Clubs to plant that bank with flowers and other plants instead of just grass.
Yeah, Jay had said that they were planning on doing that. I was a little concerned about the erosion because that's a steep bank, so I'm not sure what they're going to put on it. But
I may be able to find the application. I'll look and see. If I have it, I'll send it to you.
okay.
Hopefully something with deep roots.
Yes.
And that spreads, otherwise that whole
Yep.
bank is just going to
Oh yeah,
wash
no,
out.
it was they the newly elected president of Federated has as her project funding small projects where garden clubs work with other organizations to make a small garden to support pollinators and native birds and stuff. And so the pitch here was the garden club was working with the Center for Woodstock History to improve that bank.
Right.
friends? I just got a notice that we have about 10 minutes left
Oh,
for our
thank you,
free
Denise.
meeting.
Okay. Okay, we're moving along, hot knife through butter here. Any other any other really important things people want to bring up?
So I don't know if this is really important. I sent an email which had total typos in the subject line, so maybe you all thought it was spam, but I do have a small Fraser fir, which is about a foot high. If it would take a long time to grow, but it was free. So just a thought. I don't know if anybody has any interest. Nobody responded, but I thought maybe you all thought it was spam because my typos were so bad.
Thank you, Noreen. That's very kind. I think perhaps that would be something that we would wait and if we were going to do that swamp area and clear it out. That could
Well,
be something.
I don't know how wet it could be. a Fraser fir. I'm not really sure, but it gets to be a big tree. I have it in a pot now. It's fine. It will
Okay.
stay.
So you can train it in the pot for a while. Okay, that's great. And I
Right.
had
It'll keep in the pot for a while, but
okay.
just as a thought.
Okay,
I
thank
mean,
you. I appreciate that. And Kristen, I talked with Patrina and the pots are in her garage, so I will stop by tomorrow and try and get all those pots for you.
Okay, I've got stuff to pot up that's
Yeah, okay.
bursting from the seams, so that will be good.
I will get you the pots.
No, I think of Fraser firs as being a tree that likes higher elevations and cooler weather than we have. Because that
it's
was a
from,
very popular Christmas tree in the Christmas tree farming business in North Carolina.
yes, that's where it's from. They're from Appalachia.
Yeah.
So
I didn't buy it. It was a gift. So,
you don't
but
think it's suited to our weather, John?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we can do some research on it, but as I say, the most of the Fraser firs that I saw in the wild, so to speak, were up 2 or 3 thousand feet on the slope of a hill and in the North Carolina mountains
Mm,
because they were being grown on tree farms to be Christmas trees.
okay. So
And our weather here isn't that different from the mountains of North Carolina. It gets hotter here than it would there, but otherwise the winters are quite similar.
mhm. Okay, well, definitely something to keep in mind. And if it's in a pot at the moment, Nori, keep it happy in the pot. See what
right.
happens. So I think my sense from the committee was that we should move ahead with the idea of getting rid of the invasives in that swamp area.
Yes.
And I should explore with the town if they would take down the beech tree.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else that we should, and that we're going to be working Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 to 5. Anybody who can come. Great. And we will keep our 2 interns. I think that summarizes pretty much everything. Okay. And we must be almost out of time, Denise.
Shortly, yes, and I did my best to record. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Oh, well
But
done.
nice.
Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, happy to.
Yeah.
Nice to see you all. I hope you have a good rest of the summer. I'll hopefully see you on for our next meeting, August 6th.
Okay. And
Same
happy July
time.
the 4th.
Yes.
People come to the Jamboree in East Woodstock.
Oh, I'll definitely be there.
Yeah.
Strawberry shortcake.
John, won't be there. Phil's dropping off a cake. I'm going down to my mom's tomorrow to help her for a few days. So sorry to miss
Okay.
it.
Okay.
I'm
I hope
going to
you have a
go
safe
actually
trip
after
down
this.
there.
I'm going to cook some gluten-free brownies to
Oh,
contribute to the bake table.
yay. Yummy.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Happy
Thank
4th of
you.
July. Have a
Thank
safe
you.
trip, Denise.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you soon.